You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Mud Day!
I hope everyone had a wonderful Father's Day weekend.
Yes, and happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you.
These days slip past me anymore.
I know.
Until the internet reminds me.
For the most part, it seems like another day for me. You know, I try to enjoy it. I had a pretty good day yesterday. I mean, we got together with my parents and got to see my dad, and we had German beers and bratwursts and the whole shebang.
Hopefully you didn't have to mow the lawn.
I did, but I did that on Saturday. Saturday, and I got my riding mower working, so it didn't take as long to do, which was...
That's like a treat.
Oh, it was. It was just like 5 hours in pushing the push mower and the heat. It was just, comparatively, it was just 2 hours. And I was done. I was like, yeah, that's
even
how...
they put on some music or something.
Yeah.
You're just sitting in the riding mower then. Yeah.
So it was so much better.
Dad bod now, you know.
It's like, look at me. At least I'm not one of those that's got their can of Miller High Life sitting in the cup holder of their...
You don't have the champagne of beers just sitting in there for you?
You just go drink and drive in my yard. They can't do nothing.
Technically, that's illegal too.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be operating machinery at all.
Also, while I'm thinking about it, I don't want to overlook this, since somehow these two holidays are now coinciding. Happy Juneteenth to those who are celebrating. I think it will be a long time, if at all, that I see any businesses around here acknowledging and celebrating. Because...
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took this long just to make it a nationally recognized holiday to start with.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there are businesses around here that don't even shut down for Martin Luther King Day. It's just like, no big deal.
Yeah. It really is, yeah.
But, you know, if this was All Whitey Day, people would be closing down.
Everyone gets a day off. Yep. But.
And I can say that because...
hopefully we can change those ways over the years. I mean, you know.
White.
Got to start somewhere. We've all got to start.
Yeah.
You know?
White people, man, let me tell you, we're the worst.
Americans too. I mean, we could just go down the list.
Mm-hmm.
I had such fun. Did you read through that thread? I know we're having a side convo because I had such fun with it.
Yeah.
Just about how idiot we are traveling to other places. Like, oof.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it's true.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Like, I'd read some of them and it sound ridiculous, and I go, no, we have people that would do that and not think anything's wrong.
Yeah, because that's us.
We do dumb stuff incompetently, you know? That's the problem.
I feel like I saw some, it might have been that, but I feel like there was something else that triggered it that just... Yeah.
Oh, with the tweet or Americans or
just something in general.
States traveling.
Just looking at it, going, why are we this terrible? Why?
Kind of indoctrinated since we're young. Like, we're number one. We're the best. No place is better than here. You should, you know, like, we're kind of indoctrinated at a young age to think we're the best. We discovered this place, and look at how amazing we made our country and how fair, and
we didn't steal anything. We didn't
nothing. We just
take
found
from
it.
others.
Just found it.
Yep.
It was just there. Nobody saw it before our eyeballs.
Nope. I'm sure if animals could argue back, we would have,
Right.
done something about them too. And I guess we do. The animals
kind of shove them around.
Yeah, the animals are talking. That's why hunting became a big deal.
Do you see them over there? They're just staring at me wrong.
I know what them.
This is where my driveway goes, man.
That's what those deer are thinking. What about?
Get rid of them.
Anyway,
I bet if we made a season where we can hunt them every year.
Wabbit season. Hey, I wanted to talk real quick about something that I want to acknowledge JoBlo.com. More specifically, my producer over there, Matthew Hakunda, who I don't think I've ever mentioned his name. He'll probably never listen to this, but if he does, we'll find out. But no, I wanted to bring this up because it was an interesting dynamic that I had that I've not had yet, and it was interesting to see it from a different perspective. Okay. So he came to me this past week. He says, "Hey, I got another video for you, another assignment. Check it out. What do you think?" And when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh yeah," I was kind of already in the mindset for it because it was The Godfather versus The Godfather Part 2, and I've been watching The Offer on Paramount Plus. Not a sponsor, but I've been in the mindset of The Godfather here recently. I was like, "Oh yeah, sweet,"
like perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do this, but at the same time, I looked at the weekend. This was, Father's Day's coming up. And I was just like, I said, will that be a problem? And I just thought about it, and I threw it out there to him. I was like, hey, I said, I don't think it'll be a problem. I said, the only speed bump I could see is maybe Father's Day. Just letting you know that, that will be a day that'll be for me. But beyond that, I should be able to do it. I don't see any reason why I couldn't.
Sure.
But just an FYI.
Right.
Because I just wanted to cover my bases. And he came back and he says, I forgot about Father's Day. He says, so I tell you what, he said, I'm going to give you this one instead and I'm going to pass this one off. Now, before he did that, I had prepared, as I always do. As soon as I get my assignment, I'm on it. So I started gathering up assets, started creating stuff, essentially building a skeleton for the video. So that when I get the script, when I get the recording, the narration, and whatever other assets they want to send me, I'm ready to go. So I was set. I was set to do this.
Yeah.
And then he's taking it away. It was like, oh, well, wait a minute. I said, no. I've got a skeleton ready.
Did they know that though? Yeah.
No. He doesn't understand how I operate until now. So I was like, no, I got a skeleton ready for it. I said, you just go ahead and send it to me. And I said, it's no problem. And he came back and he said, I apologize for jumping the gun. He said, he said, thank you for being proactive.
Yeah.
But he did go ahead and give it to the other editor because, and this is a fair point, is the other editor is going to be out of town when that video is due, like after. So,
I see.
So for him to go ahead and get this one and fill that gap, and then he can go on his vacation, I take the one he was going to give him that was due while he's going to be on vacation.
That makes sense.
So it made sense. And I was like, all right, yeah, fair. But because I had done some work up front, I had this very beautiful, like I thought it was, a very beautiful picture. That was the graphic that I was going to use between rounds, so to speak. Well, like if you've watched any of the videos that I do for the channel,
it's like verses or whatever.
It'll say like round 1, round 2, all that jazz. So I had created this graphic of Vito Corleone on one side, Michael Corleone on the other, seamless white background. It's gorgeous. And I'll have to share it with you. And when I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, shit, this is going to go to waste. And I really don't want it to go to waste.
Send it to the other person. Maybe they...
Well, that's what I did. I passed it along to the producer. I said, hey, I don't know if he'd want to use it. He's got his methods. I got mine. I said, but I made this graphic. I think it's good. I really don't want it to go to waste. I said, if he wants to use it, he's more than welcome to. If he doesn't, I'm not going to take offense.
Right.
I want to, if you can use it at all, please do. If not, don't worry about it. I don't want it to go to waste.
Right, yeah.
But no offense otherwise. And sure enough, he said that he thought it was beautiful. He said the editor thought it was great, and he's going to use it. And they even gave me a little something for my time. And that was very generous.
That was nice. Yeah.
So I was like, awesome. So
yeah,
big kudos to them.
Look at that.
They're great.
Being collaborative.
Right.
Yeah. That's how it should be. And work with each other when you can and do stuff like that. That's great. And who knows, you might have saved them some time too before they were going on vacation.
Right. So and what was interesting about it when I was saying that I got to see something from another perspective is the producer side. Because when he's sitting there saying, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I'm filling all the gaps, I was like, I knew exactly where he was coming from. I was like, absolutely, dude. I got where you're coming from. That producer hat, you have to look at things from all sides. You got to plan ahead.
Right.
So that's what he was doing. And I couldn't be like upset. It's like, what? You don't believe I can do it? I mean, any other person, I'm sure he's especially now that I've told him how I kind of operate.
Yeah.
I don't want him to ever doubt me, but I don't want him to think he has to always play it like, well,
in
he's
his
going to
mind
take
too,
offense.
to be
I'm not going to
fair,
take offense.
You weren't sure. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to play my cards safe, same way he did. I don't want to say, oh yeah, absolutely, and then something happened. Technically, yesterday and maybe a little today would be the most of my time, but I don't plan on doing anything else after today. I'm just going to go relax. No. So
that's how you should.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. So if you happen to watch that video, and there's a little graphic in there, I'll point it out, and I'm anxious to see how it shows up in the video, because I even had another thing to go along with it, and again, this shows different creative sides, but the way I had it, I even had it set up to where you could see it, but again, I didn't want to enforce this idea on his video. This is just my idea for my version of the video. But over that graphic,
what you were planning, yeah.
Right. Over with that graphic, it would say the round 1, round 2, or whatever. And instead of actually hearing the narrator say it, you fade in from black, and then you just hear those opening chords from The Godfather, the little horn.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you hear. And then you go back into the round. Simple and effective, but just like beautiful. When I saw it play out, I was like, "That! Oh man, that was awesome!" And I don't know. I hate that I can't see that, but it's fine.
I'm sure you'll have plenty of others.
Yeah,
it'll just the creativity will strike.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not every other editor, and they are not me. And I think sometimes I'll watch other people's, like I've probably said that here before, I've watched other people do the same type of videos, and I question how they do things versus how I do things, and it doesn't seem to matter.
I bet everyone does, though.
Yeah, and...
Because everyone's in their own head. Reality is perception, right? So it's like, what you do and why you do it. You can't understand why. Why wouldn't you have come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
Well, this is how things are done,
Well, for a great example of that is like the scorecard. When I first started watching that, they had a scorecard, and they even gave it to me when I started the job. Is like, here's a scorecard. You put all the rounds on, down the middle. Here's one side, here's the other side, and then you check off who won a round or didn't win a round at all. And I've noticed that's faded away. Like other editors are doing a different thing. So they don't...
That's kind of neat, though.
Yeah, they don't rely on the scorecard. So yeah, I've debated on it myself. I was like, so do I need to do that? I said, but if I do, then that's me following their lead. Do I like the scorecard? Something, yeah, I kind of do. So as long as they're not have an issue with me using the scorecard, I might just continue using that. That way,
Well,
it's
if they
my thing.
provided it to you,
Yeah.
I would think that it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
I think it's something that I can look at that's mine. You know, like if everybody else has gone away from it, then you know that my video is going to utilize the scorecard, and I can find ways to make it,
Make
fun.
it your own scorecard.
Yeah. Like the next one that I'm doing, which I'm going to keep that quiet for a moment. You don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be a fun one. And again, I've already made a new graphic,
Got
made
your outline.
already scorecard and everything like that. I just need the script and all that, and I can get started. So
Nice.
hopefully it'll be a fun one. I think it will be.
I'm sure it will.
But
Especially since you like doing these things, it should make it fun anyway. So
yeah, it's trying to be creative when doing it, because I don't want to just rehash the same stuff over and over.
Sure.
And if I can find, because even looking at this one, I looked over the script and I was looking through little details and just minor things, and I was trying to think of things that would make it creative or fun or just interesting. And I don't know if something would have come to me in the moment, but it never seems to hit me as I'm planning it. It's always in the moment. For example, my last video, and I'm glad that they liked it, because to me it was funny for a lot of reasons, okay?
Right.
But there was, I think it was the Captain America, Superman, Batman video that I did. And the running gag through Batman versus Superman is the Martha. That's what everyone remembers. Martha, why did you say that name? Martha, Martha. So there were these moments where they were saying the character names. Martha, why did you say that name? So I interspersed that in there. Martha, why did you say that name? And then I kind of built it to where it's a little too much. Like the intensity is just like, why did you say that? It's like, calm down.
Settle down now.
So there was this clip that I just happened to run across, like an old blooper reel, okay, for like movies from like in the 1950s or something like that. And I had seen this clip weeks prior where I guess it was supposed to be this scene where this woman comes up and she just starts wailing on this dude, like beating the hell out of him, just slapping shit like that. And he's like, oh. And finally he goes, okay. Jesus Christ. And it was just like, that probably wasn't the line, but you could just see it on his face, like, God, chill out. So when I saw that, it made me laugh. And then I thought in that moment, I was like, wouldn't that be funny to have that clip juxtaposed with, why did you say that name? And it's just like, gee, calm down. So I put that in there because I thought it was funny, and they thought it was funny too, and I was happy.
Yeah.
Because it's a random clip.
Yeah.
But it just worked in the context for me. So if I can find little moments like that I can work in, even if it amuses me,
sometimes that's all it's for.
Yeah. And so I look for those little opportunities just to amuse myself.
There you go.
And hopefully
I'm sure others along the way.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the key. What have you been playing?
Ooh, I did pretty good this week.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it. I did, of course, play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. It's so much fun. I was really happy with it. It really does hit all the nostalgia bump beats that you would want out of these types of games. And I had like crane hand. It had been so long since I used a controller, and I sat there for like 2 hours playing it that I remembered what it was like as a kid when you finally had to take a break, when you're just like zoning in and you can't remember how to do any combo and you're just getting hit and starting to get angry. And I'm like, this means I'm tired and I need to take a break and step away, because I'm just like, why am I not even able to dodge right now? Dodge, and then you're getting mad. And I'm like, aw, it's just like when I was a kid, but with more adult language.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The expletives. But the hubs actually worked on a Saturday, so I went and installed PS5 for a minute and loaded up Miles Morales because he upgraded to the middle tier on the PlayStation Plus. I'll remember the names anyway. Middle tier. And so I was just flipping through to see what all we got with it. And he had been playing Miles Morales. And I was like, you know what? So I sat there and played that till he got home. And I think I played too much controller yesterday.
Your hands cramping?
My hands were getting a little sore because I'm so used to keyboard and mouse and all this. And so I did eventually have to just put that down too because my hands I'm not used to this position for so long now, you know. And I still don't know if I ever know what to do with like my pinky and the ring finger, you know, because that's like sitting like this. So maybe there's just legitimately not a controller that's perfect for my hands that's comfortable for that long, or I'm just not used to it. It's probably one of the two.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I made sure I started getting all the little flips in the air when I was swinging through, trying to get the XP from doing all the fancy, you know, little flips or holding what I would imagine is a kick flip or whatever you would do for skateboarding, but, you know, in the air, grabbing his toe and doing all those things. And I didn't get far, I don't think. I'm to where I know what Finn is up to, sort of. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether I'm trying to be, in case there's spoilers for other people. So that was about as far as where I wrapped it up in the story. And just trying to remember all my moves. I think that's the reason ever since I moved over to, I'm like, I can hit all the moves on keyboard mouse. It's the same thing. But now I'm just trying to remember how to roll all of the moves together. So now I'm remembering to kick them in the air and punch them. And then dodge when it gets red for sure. Because holy crap, man. I think my problem is I button mash and they don't understand when I don't dodge that my character's legitimately still in an animation for me trying to fight. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why are you dodging? And it's like, because you made him do a whole thing and he has to play that out. You got to chill. So, but it's fun. I basically just wanted to kind of swing around as Spider-Man in downtown.
Sure.
And do all of that and beat him up. And I did try the stealth stuff, and I got a whole level stealth, and, you know, but it is kind of funny because you got the music going, you know, when you're actually doing the mission, and then you start stealthily tying them all up or whatever. And then when the music stops, when you're done, it's just a bunch of, you know, and you're looking up and you just see all these bodies just dangling, you know, in spider webs. I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny. And Steam Next Fest was all last week, where a bunch of different indie titles and stuff were getting shown off, and the developers were streaming them on Steam. And so I downloaded a couple of games from that and tried some of the demos.
Okay.
So there was quite a bit. I think today's the last day for it. So if you're listening to this right now, you might be able to hop on a couple if you didn't take advantage this week. Because I think they said the 20th was the last day. But I downloaded a couple. So there was this one called Electrics. Capital E-X, Electrics. Okay. Mechanic simulator. So I read the title, a simulation game of electronic equipment repair with a dark conspiracy twist. In the game, we'll be able to fix modern and retro electronic devices and more. And I'm like, what's the twist? I didn't get far enough for the twist. I'm sorry. I took apart like 3 cell phones, and I'm like, this is busy work. And I play PC game building simulator. So, like, this is, like, I'm the audience for it. But when you're making me, they're like, my phone doesn't work. And you're like, okay. So you start inspecting the pieces. And just to realize how much of the phone I had to take apart before I could find the bad part to order the part to put it back together, I'm like, this is too much. So now for me, it's probably great detailed for those who enjoy those types of things. It was very detailed. Graphics were good, you know. Yeah. Maybe I learned how to do a couple of things in a phone. I don't know. The PC building simulator is pretty freaking accurate to what I actually do when I'm building my PC. So I'm like, maybe I'm learning how to take apart a phone. So that got about 30 minutes of my time.
All right.
I wanted to move forward more, but I couldn't. And then I tried like another cafe thing. And then I think the problem I'm having with decorating games lately is everyone's trying to find their own twist on how to paint walls.
Yeah.
And it's not always good. Guys, look. look, again, I'm the audience for this nonsense, tomfoolery, relaxing game that most people probably want to jam their eyes out with. Like, what are you doing? There's no complication. I'm the audience. But look, the painting, we've got to just decide it's okay to just like fill a little bubble and let the whole wall get full and move on with our day. Because in this one, they legit want you to like roll the paint over every inch of it until it's painted. Okay, fine. For every panel. So when it got to one portion where they wanted me to renovate, am I talking about the right one now? I think I said something.
You don't even know.
I think I moved on because I tried like 3 of them. But either way, it's garbage. I wasn't going to do it when I went into the remodeling portion. Oh, Handyman. There's a Handyman Corporation remodeling thing. And I took one more gig. And then when I saw the size of the room they wanted painted, and I knew how long it already took to paint a kitchen, I shut the game down and uninstalled it. I was like, no, I'm not. We've got to fix that painting. Everything else, great. You know, like I like the home rebuilder ones. I like to chill out on those games, but I'm not going to sit there and roll the paint over all of it.
Sure.
No. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What have you been playing? I did good though.
No, you
That's
did
like
great.
5 games, and maybe I'll finish any of them. I don't know.
Well, what have I played? Not really anything.
No Legos?
A little. I swear to God, I don't know where all my time has gone. I remember
Well, you are a busy bee.
to be able to play games, you know, and now it's like I never get to play games. I feel like when I turn it on, it's like, well, how long am I going to have until I have to shut it off now?
Needs something. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, all I've really been doing with Lego Star Wars is just collecting. Because, again, I don't want to get into anything major. It's just like, well, I'll bounce to this planet, bounce to that planet, see how many kyber bricks I can get until I'm locked out because, you know, I've still got to progress in certain story modes. Yeah. Which, you know, I'm kind of happy about that because it allows me to collect as much as I can and just have a stopping point. So if I'm missing anything, at least I know I've just got to progress in the story. So hopefully when I start moving on to like The Force Awakens, maybe that'll unlock a few more. And then I can use that as a way to kind of go back and collect a few more things. And then once I collected those, I can move on to the next game until they unlock and so on. So trying to carve out something a little bit more constrained, so I'm not just like, because it's chaos right now. There's just kyber bricks everywhere. I've collected half. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Half.
Oh, wow.
Half of 1,200. Think about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Wow.
There are a
Jesus.
lot. So I've done half, and I'm sure that's not counting the ones you get in the levels through The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens, so there's still those there. And I don't know how many characters I've collected. I've got a lot. There's just so many.
Yeah.
And there's way too many to even justify playing, you know.
As soon as I see it pop up half the time in games, I'm like, oh, well, that's a cool thing I'm never going to revisit.
Yeah.
I'm not collecting all of these things.
I just, you know, I do it for for things.
If
for
I
reason.
find it along the way, cool.
Yeah.
You know?
It depends.
Like even when I was rolling around with Miles Morales, you know, and all the different stuff that kept popping up that I'll collect later, I'm like, oh, no, I won't be. No. But guarantee you I won't be collecting all that.
But that's what makes it fun for you. Collecting stuff and exploring, that's what makes it fun for me. So I'm not going to...
It totally fair. Mm-hmm. If everyone liked the same thing, the world would be dull, right?
That's right. I would like to talk a little bit more about something else, and I will later. But
we will later, he says. Ooh,
so until then, news.
News it is. I kind of want to revisit a little bit from the Summer Games Fest because we did have some stuff that came out of the Xbox showcase that I kind of wanted to chat about. Because honestly, okay, you watched some of it, I would imagine, or at least Cliff Notes or whatever. I threw my hands in the air when I saw Persona 345. by the way, coming to PC. Now, I know 4 already had because I played it. I played the 4 Golden and everything. But I had just been saying, like a month ago, about how I wished more of those would be ported over to PC, because a lot of them was either just on a handheld or something back in the day when it came, to our neck of the woods,
right.
Our country, So I was excited to see that, and on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I was obviously everything they said was day one on Game Pass. I was wondering if they were going to have the audacity to say one. No, not this one though. This one not. After you just got done, rattling off everything else. But so I'm excited about that. And then Starfield, honestly, damn it, Todd Howard, damn it. I'm in. I don't know if I'll beat it. It's one of those where once they started getting into how detailed, how deep and everything, which is exactly what I want, all the different traits that you could have and the story ways that you could build it. As soon as he said 1,000 planets, I was like, oh, I'm going to ignore probably 998 of those. But that's just too much. You and I complain about open world, open galaxy. Are you kidding me? It's too much.
Yeah.
But it does look cool. I love how deep, and that's one thing you could say, Bethesda usually throws a lot of bugs and doesn't clean up or whatever, but their stories and their lore and all that stuff are usually always very well thought out and fun. And if you really wanted to dive deep and even read all of the things that they usually hide within there, very, very well done. Very well done. And if stuff starts to float away, you can blame space.
That's true.
So now it's not a bug, it's just a feature.
So,
I had my horses fly away a lot in Elder Scrolls games, so that's why I was like, but now.
So here's my deal. Okay, so it's going to sound bad because I'm just going to be upfront and honest. I could give a shit about Starfield. I saw
That's
it.
Fair.
I was just like, oh, so No Man's Sky. And
I saw that joke.
And it's
No
true.
Man's Skyrim.
It's true. But I know there are differences.
Yeah.
I know there are differences. Why 1,000 planets? Now, hear me out. Would it not make more sense if you wanted to make some expansive game? And I know 1,000 sounds great. It sounds impressive. Oh my God.
To me, it sounds too much, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Other gamers probably are like, what?
What? 1,000 planets that I'll never
Me,
visit.
I'm like, oh, that's a lot of time you're asking of me.
But think about this. Think about this. Why not a centralized galaxy, kind of like the Milky Way, and you have 9 planets, or maybe 8 in a former planet, and you just build them. And they are full planets with so much.
You could.
But think about it. We're talking planets.
It sounded like you'll have your own base and everything that you'll build up like they have in Fallout and stuff. You could kind of build on some of them. Not all of them, but.
Right. But full planets, sustaining their own ecosystem, people, characters. Think about how much detail you could put into each planet separately. And then you build upon it. Because I guarantee you, with Starfield, you're going to have 1,000 planets. Oh, my God. And they'll all look the same. Right. Kind of the problem we had with No Man's Sky. Where you go to one, you go to another. It's like, yeah, it's same characters, same creatures, same aliens.
Sure.
I've seen it.
Right.
It entices you briefly. And you get sucked into it. And then eventually it's just like, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen this. I've seen that. But 9 planets, and again, arbitrary number, just throwing it out there.
Right, just not 1,000.
Yeah, that can really be wholly unique. So you give one planet to one designer or one team, and say create a planet with this theme or with that theme, so that at least they have something to base it on. So maybe one is like an entire city. Kind of like Coruscant in Star Wars. Maybe you've got another one that's nothing but a jungle planet. So it's just animals and wildlife, and there's no societies. And if there are, they're secret, like these little tribes and stuff that are tucked away somewhere. I don't know. Just to me, it would seem like it would make the games more interesting and intriguing because you have a limited amount of numbers, but the details are all there within each planet. And to explore such a large planet is already bad enough. I mean, Christ, I don't know how much of my main planet on No Man's Sky, where I've got my biggest base, I guarantee you, I've just circled the same area, and there's still so much planet that I've never even touched. But there's just so much. So why not give me a small amount that I can explore and want to explore?
Yeah. Then maybe you will just only do those. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point, though, because I know I'm not going to hit them all up. It's just probably going to be an impossibility, and I'll eventually grow weary. But
I just feel like they missed the point. You know, they think, well, we just got to have everything. We got to look at all the big numbers. I was like, yeah, but the detail is where it matters. The detail.
Well, we'll see, because like I said, they've always, I feel anyway, their lore with those games and the story and the richness and everything is always present. Way more than most people probably even dive into. So I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and see. But to your point, they didn't say procedurally generated or anything like that. So we'll see, I guess. We'll see after a couple of visits, Let's Plays, live streams, whenever it comes out next year, how different each one is. To your point, how much different is it going to be to make me want to explore fully to each one?
Right.
Or to your point, be like, oh, this is kind of too close to XYZ that I was just at, unless there's a mission I need to be here for. But yeah, super ambitious. I mean, it's super ambitious, and it's like the first original IP out of them in, God, who knows how long now? 20 years, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So like an embarrassingly long time. But yeah, I think it looks good, and I'm really happy we finally got to see some gameplay. We got to see, just a little bit more. I mean, obviously we knew that was gonna round off the showcase. I had a feeling that was going to be the best for last, quote unquote. Best is relative, but and then a lot of people were chit-chatting about that Diablo 4. They were kind of shocked. Nobody was expecting to see any news from it.
Yeah.
So congratulations to those of you who that got to be a nice little surprise for. I wasn't expecting anything from it, but I could imagine if you're excited and didn't even know, that would have been a cool moment, because it looks fun.
Sure.
I've enjoyed a few of those games. I never played them fully, start to finish or beat any of them, but I have fun with those dungeon crawlers every once in a while, and this looks like they're getting a little bit more deeper into that, so I think it could be fun. And then I'm just going to help here because Shirley Curry is all like, hey, can you hurry up with Elder Scrolls 6 before I die? And I'm going to help her. Can you, though? Can you hurry up? No. I know, Starfield, blah, blah, blah. You guys got a lot going on. But he supposedly did confirm for us this week that it was happening before Fallout 5, which then we learned they're doing Fallout 5. So,
cool.
Not Obsidian or anything like that. Like Bethesda's got the next one coming up. And I mean, it'll probably come out on like the Xbox Series X, Series Volume 2.
Mm-hmm. Whatever the next thing will be.
I mean, I'm thinking 2 generations from now we'll see any of those. But yeah, so that was kind of just the few that showed up on the Xbox showcase that I wanted to chat about that was exciting to me. And on to other news. Microsoft just had a big week. Ended the last week, started the one. For the whole update on the Blizzard acquisition. Last Monday, Microsoft said it would respect the rights of the Activision Blizzard workers to join a union. It would enter into a labor neutrality agreement with major media union Communications Workers of America, which has been helping gaming companies unionize. So if the acquisition is finally approved, the new labor agreement will take effect 60 days after the deal is finalized. I think that's great news. That you're willing to just respect what they're already trying to work together, put together, formed. Because I'm sure a lot of it is more geared towards the Ravens Ravens team that has, because of the whole, but now the rest of our staff's going to get these benefits, but we can't give them to you now because you wanted to be a union, remember? You know, that whole nonsense. But according to the president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, saying to WAPO, the neutrality agreement means just what we said. We respect the rights of those. I'm wondering if they're going to have more, because they'll be like, oh, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, you guys do what you need to do, you know?
Sure.
So I mean, I'm happy to hear that those discussions are being had, and that there's, at least for now, we're not seeing any vitriol of them trying to figure out a way to bust that up, fire that, whatever would happen, that, you know, somebody with lots of money can find all the legal loopholes to do.
Sure.
For somehow. And then, of course, in other news, on June 16th, Bitter Blizzard tweeted out an independent board of directors released the SEC filings related to the harassment and discrimination charges. And boy, oh boy, their independent people couldn't find anything.
Oh.
Isn't that weird? That? Yeah, that basically they were saying the higher-ups weren't hiding this stuff. It wasn't like one of those things that they just knew about and were stifling this whole time, that they couldn't find any evidence of malfeasance. They found no evidence of like systematic abuse, intentional. Well, all I'll say is if you want to go to the ABK Twitter, they did a very good breakdown tweet of a lot of the stuff that was found in the filings. And, you know, how they were like, yeah, no. Sorry. Imagine that. You guys found nothing wrong. It's a pretty long thread, but I do recommend going through it because they do show examples in the findings to stuff that they've just been telling us about for the last couple of years, and how, they didn't, our independent people didn't find anything. Okay, cool. So just fuck you, Bobby. Anyway. So I'm excited for them to join Microsoft. It seems at this point, like, at least if anything, they're saying the right things right now. Obviously, it needs to be, you know, once they get there and it starts. I'm not willing to die on any hill for any company anymore. Like, everything will look good on its surface, and then in a year or so, we're going to find out something else. But for now, it seems fine. Just fuck you, Bobby Kotick. We did get a look at Resident Evil Village DLC this week, focusing on Rose years after the events of Village. Looks like a third-person mode also was getting added in there, which the last two was first-person, yeah. And then we got a little bigger look at the 4 remake. I mean, looking at Leon and the graphics and everything, I mean, it looks good, but it's still a much darker direction.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked 4. I think I might like this one as its own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about as a remake.
Whoa.
Yet.
Why? I guess is the question. Why? Because, I mean, 4...
I can see wanting to make it look nicer and prettier, kind of like what they're doing with The Last of Us, you know, even though I still thought that looked good, but, you know.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's essentially
it
where it's coming down to. It's the argument I was making earlier, the details. You're putting in all this detail, but that's about it. I mean, the game, they both looked impressive when they were made, and you're making them look even more impressive, but it's not leaps and bounds, you know what I mean? It's just like extra details.
Or we're so
that
used
just
to seeing how good it looks now.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Because it took the side-by-side for me, if I'm honest, when they did the Last of Us. I felt I was going to need a side-by-side to legitimately throw it in my face. And when that showed up, yes, okay, fair. You're right. These do look... It does look better.
It does.
There is more details in the humans' faces and their expressions. And honestly, they do look more weathered. More people that I would have expected to see in a apocalyptic landscape, you know?
But that's the gist of it, though. It's just the detail. So you're just making these games more detailed.
Pretty much. Slapping a new dress on them.
I mean, they can fix the control scheme of Resident Evil 4, then we'll be all right.
Which that could have used some help. Yeah. It was definitely a little janky on the controls. But, I don't know. I'm still having a hard time thinking if you've never played it, wait for the remake. Because it still just seems like it's going to have a different feel to it. But, you know, you do you. I still don't think 4 looked bad.
No. And look, as a fan
you know.
of 4, I love it. I really do. And there's a part of me that wants to revisit it in this remake, but I guess at the same time, I'm tired of replaying the same games. And
yeah, I played it. Yeah, no, I feel you.
So
like
that's
2
what it boils
was
down
such
to.
a huge drastic difference that like I wanted to play that. Obviously, the remake for 2, like that's huge, right?
Right.
Because I mean, if you're looking at the systems from when that first one was born on to now, so that did feel like a whole new game, and they kind of disjointed the story enough to make it like you needed that second playthrough to finish the story. So it was an interesting way that they came up with that. 3, meh. It was a remake. All right, fine. It looked good. Don't get me wrong, but meh. There was nothing that hugely exciting about it. And then I guess we'll wait and see for 4 here when it comes out. This was just kind of interesting to me. Insomniac hired an experienced Marvel Cinematic Universe concept artist as art director for Spider-Man 2 game, which seemed kind of like bringing in those ones. Insomniac already does some really good stuff. This sounds like fun to me, you know? So Davison Carvalho, hired by Insomniac in February. So just came on this last year. And this artist has worked as freelance concept on Marvel movies, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, Captain Marvel. So some credits under their belt. And then also worked on high profile games, usually in the UI, specializing in UI, like Mortal Kombat X, Halo Infinite, Lone Echo. Lots of stuff. So to me, it seems kind of exciting for the next Spider-Man game to have all of those like really cool professional ducks in a row. So can't wait to see what comes out of that. Coming to PS5, of course, because Sony likes their Spider-Man. But in 2023, supposedly.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Supposedly everything you love about the first game and Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and more, they say. That's what's going to happen.
I guess I mean, I'm excited. I'm curious what they're going to do to make it stand apart.
Right.
Because
obviously
we're getting 2 Spider-Man, I'm sure. So if we're getting 2 Spider-Man, and I guess comparatively, they do play similar but different. Like their styles are different. But I feel like you need to find a way to break that apart just a little bit more, you know? Because I understand from going from Spider-Man and then Miles Morales, you didn't want to change it up too much. You know, you're adding in things that Miles can do that Peter can't and changing it up. So now that you have them both together... Now really mix it up and make them fight completely different. And I don't know. I even how New York, I guess that's where we're going to be still.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
what can you do to amp that up? I mean, I'm sure it's going to seem...
I guess you got to keep picking places with tall buildings, huh? You can't like go to Kansas. You like
I would assume that they're going to find a way to make the city seem more alive, because I know that was a big deal when the game... I think it was like early on when the first game came out, like the original on the PlayStation 4, there was just
population size.
Yeah, it was just like, if you can cut this back or you can play that. And then I think even on PlayStation 5, if you were running like at certain frames per second, or you're running whatever the performance mode or whatever, then it changes how many things are going on in the city.
Sure.
So
yeah,
if this
like
is
how
actually
populated and stuff it gets.
Yeah. So with this actually being built for the PlayStation 5, I'm really curious to see what it's going to look like, because it wasn't being tied down to an older console.
Right. Yeah.
So, and
you're not limited by having to make it work on both.
Right. So the details, that's what I'm curious about.
I mean, I'm excited for it. We already know Insomniac, or at least so far I've trusted them with these properties, you know, and been doing well. And so we'll see if I get through Miles Morales, you know, because I think I played like the OG 2 and then that was it. I never, went back to any of them. But one thing kind of interesting caught my eye too. Sony's working on a genuine professional controller for the PlayStation 5. So we might be having like a PS5 Pro controller coming out. They're revealing new hardware in the coming weeks. So this was just a tease. So supposedly we'll be teasing us with more info coming up. Or at least according to the sources, that leaks all these things.
Sure.
But pictures of the controller keep the PlayStation, it looks like the classic PS5 style that we've already kind of established now for PS5. A few key differences. One of the biggest changes was the buttons under there's buttons under the analog sticks, which allow you to completely remove the stick components. Maybe kind of a way to help with stick drift, so you're not having to buy a whole new controller, because you can take those out. Maybe, presumably. They removable stick units is what it was called. So it's just like you can snap them out. So also, let's see, keep moving. And then the trigger stops at the back of the controller. And then it also had like these flappy paddle buttons. You'd have to look at it.
Yeah,
so there's a little bit of upgrades there. And then software upgrades. Supposedly coming with it as well, of course, to make it better. But I mean, I kind of like that idea, because it seems like stick drift is just a thing that is in our lives now.
Yeah, really.
Like Nintendo's had it, Sony's had it. I mean, I'm sure maybe Xbox controllers have had it. I don't venture into that world enough to know firsthand, but it doesn't seem like it's a uniquely one company over another experience. Maybe one has more so than others. I felt like I heard about Nintendo way more and longer, but regardless, that would be nice, because I would imagine the sticks are way cheaper than an $80 controller or $70 controller, whatever they're going for nowadays. But outside of that, I got some quick hits, unless there was any news that you saw that I didn't mention and you wanted to chat about.
I got one, but I'll wait and see what your quick hits are.
Oh, okay. This one I just thought was fun. So do you recall we had rumors about a GoldenEye reboot?
Yes.
Remake, recoloring, whatever was rumored a while back. It never happened, but I did find another one that was, I think it's taken its place. I don't know. Wants to be its sequel. It's programmed the same way. So it's called Agent 64 Spies Never Die. And if you were a fan of GoldenEye, I think this would scratch that itch. It has the N64 feel to it, in that graphic design and everything. Definitely cleaned up.
Sure, yeah.
Way cleaned up. But yeah, it looks fun, and you could actually go play the demo now, and it has a 2022 release window. So if you were looking to scratch that N64 GoldenEye itch, here you go. It looked cool.
I got a little news to piggyback off that I saw, and I think I saw something about it the week prior, but I'm just now remembering it. There is a documentary that might actually be out, and if it's not out now, I think it's going to be out this week, about the making of GoldenEye and the small team at Rare being given this task. And by all accounts, from what I was just hearing through the trailer, the game should not have been what it was, given the small team, the license, the fact that video games at that time with movie licenses were never really good. That always seemed to be...
Or it was like 100% the movie to the T.
Yeah.
Just playing through that, right.
So the way this documentary trailer was laying this all out, it was like, it shouldn't have worked. And they turned it into something unforgettable.
Right?
Because it really was. It was just like that game.
How many N64 games do you still talk about?
I mean, there are a handful, but GoldenEye is usually at the top. One of the top. And it's bizarre to me, but I remember playing that game so much.
Yeah.
Had friends, we would, that was, I guess, where a lot of people do multiplayer. Like, if we had multiplayer back then like that, we probably would have been playing nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, the people I worked with, I'd go over to their house, and we'd just do GoldenEye all night. And it was just fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was loads of fun.
Yeah, I watched the trailer for it. It just brought a smile to my face. I was like, good work, guys. This looks good, and you're piggybacking off that idea. So, yeah. Then Evil Dead, the game's getting a new map soon. Army of Darkness-based Castle Kandar map is supposed to be added this summer. It's nice to see that that's going to be supported for a bit. It looks like
I would hope so. Yeah.
Want to keep it. Well, you never know.
I know.
With games like this, you never know. I assume it will still 100% depend on how long the player base sticks around and keeps with it, of course. But
Right.
I'm here for that. The adding in the Kandar Castle for one of the maps. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. I saw this week too, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is underway, according to the sources. It was confirmed this week during a 25th anniversary showcase that the new Final Fantasy VII series will be a trilogy. And that was about all I could really say on that much. So,
Yeah,
a three-parter. I thought they were already long.
Oh, they are. And I was curious if it was going to be a three-parter. That was actually the other thing I was going to bring up, was the big Final Fantasy celebration thing or whatever they were doing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is part 2 of this whole thing. So it makes me wonder what part 3 will be, because there seems to be a theme now. Remake, rebirth,
reborn.
Return.
Rebirth is reborn. It's the same thing. Return.
I don't know. I don't know, but remix. There you go. I'm sure that would sound that's probably right. You're probably on point.
Well, it was me. You're like reborn. I'm like rebirth. Let's do the same word. Or what means the same thing?
Because
so good point though.
Because I'm under the assumption at this point within the story, spoilers slight to Final Fantasy VII if you've not played it.
Right?
By this point it should be.
I mean, I know we're remaking it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the same story.
Well, I mean for the remake, because they changed some stuff.
Oh, is it different? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's why I defended, if you remember, why they called it a remake, because the ending changed things. So we thought we were following the same story, but then we realized we're not.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like that multiverse thing. Here was a game, this still exists, but now a little butterfly flapped its wings. We got that butterfly effect, and now this is happening. So this is a timeline, and this is a timeline.
Okay.
That's how I'm understanding it. So for me, does Rebirth follow the same beats, or is it going to be completely divergent? Is it going to change completely? Because I'm sure people would like to see certain elements from the other games roll over, like Yuffie. Sure. I know that they made like a side quest for her to where you kind of get introduced to what she was doing prior to these events. And it does seem like the way they're breaking up the game is per disc. So there were 3 discs in the original game. So now this would be disc 2 and all the content of that. That's how I'm perceiving it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
I mean, it makes sense anyway.
Yeah.
I totally just rammed my face into the microphone, so if you heard a...
Because I don't, to my understanding, and of course I'd have to replay it again, but I don't remember ever encountering Yuffie until disc 2.
Okay.
And again, she did not technically get introduced, except for the DLC content that's kind of to fill in her story, and then I guess we'll meet up with her in the new game, Rebirth. Okay. So if that's the case, again, do you follow similar beats like you did in the other game, or are you going completely in an entirely new direction with similarities?
Right.
Because for me, I think at this point you've already set the stage that this is different. Do something else. Yeah. You know, go. I mean, sure, we're going to have to follow similar beats because of story, but don't adhere to this other game now. You know, if there was a massive change you want to make it. Go for it. You know, make people surprised.
Reinterest those who've already played through them or were fans for forever. They're getting new nuggets now as more motivation to want to play through it if they needed any. I know people love those games, but
I know some players are pissed that this is not a remake of the game, essentially. But
you're never going to make everyone happy.
But
There's always a grumpus.
But you're getting to see the game as it could have been, sure. And I know the story's not identical, but why not? Why not do something different?
And it sounds to me like, just listening to your explanation, that maybe they're trying to fully flesh out more side characters that maybe didn't have the opportunity or the technology or anything at that time to be able to do that we can now.
Why not?
And granted, I didn't play.
Yeah.
So, but just listening to your description about how we're getting a little bit more detail of, the character you were just mentioning, I would imagine that's not the only one.
Sure.
You probably discovered getting more stuff. So I don't know. It just seems like it might be more story for you. But I know some people just like to be mad.
Yeah.
And if that's you, then I guess have fun being mad about it. I don't know. It's a choice you make. It's a choice you make. Did you have anything else from the 25th anniversary you wanted to chat about? Because that was all I wrote.
No, I mean, I saw some of the other games because it was really about Final Fantasy VII, and they had new games that they were announcing. A lot of them seemed like mobile games, or just these kind of like, I don't care. Like, there was this one that were just like, started it off all fancy, and it was like, another remake? ? And I was like, no, I'm not playing that.
No,
so
we can move on.
Whatever these games are, if people, I understand mobile gaming is a thing. I
like some things on mobile.
I don't like it.
It's not my go-to.
I don't need. If I can't play with.
If I'm sitting somewhere and it's like one of those hunt and peck time management things, fine. It's perfect. I'm just holding the phone. I'm touching the screen. I'm doing the things. I can't hold it like a handheld though.
Yeah,
right.
no, I'm not.
Kind of gets too crampy.
I can't do controls on a mobile phone. You either give me touch screen where I can just tap stuff, or I'm out. Because I don't like it. If I'm going to do controller play, I'm going to do it on my TV. And I wish they would understand that, but it's fine.
Well, some people, that's probably their gaming machine. There are people that are probably not like you and I that throws thousands of dollars into this hobby.
Yeah.
So you play on what you can.
That is true.
But yes, if you have options, no.
Yeah. No. But no, that Rebirth was the only thing that really the only thing I cared to see. Everything else
it seemed like the big announcement.
Sure.
Anyway. And one more, remember the week before when we were chatting about all of the things getting turned into TV shows, the video games game, and we were talking about Gran Turismo series. Well, it's actually a movie.
Like that matters.
I was reading today. Well, I was thinking it was going to be a series coming to Netflix or something. The way this article I was reading was breaking all of these different things coming out, and then just the stuff that I knew had already been turned into a series. But honestly, the story itself, I feel maybe now that I read a little bit, they're just kind of stealing the Gran Turismo name, because we were like, what story? Drive fast, go left, right? But it's set to release on August 11th, 2023. The log line says, based on a true story. I don't know. The film is the ultimate wish fulfillment tale of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver. That's the plot, the log line. I still think just using the name as recognition. So it sounds like somebody was super good, in this game. And I mean, at least that's a story. But I'm thinking they just kind of stole the Gran Turismo name for name recognition. I don't know. Maybe siblings, have you played them? Is there some sort of story? And I put in quotes, how sometimes even those kinds of games will give you some little something or other, a career mode or a campaign or something for you to play through to kind of, I guess, as a tutorial-ish. I don't know. But yeah, so now it's a movie, and you can see it in a year if you are interested.
I'll pass. I got no interest.
But that's all I got. That was the only thing that caught my eye this week that I felt like chatting with you about.
All
so what do we got? You were kind of us earlier.
I was trying to come up with something that I wanted to talk about this week. The thing that I was going to consider talking about, we had talked about off air, and I guess we'll do that next week, because I think that'll give us some time to do that.
Sure.
Because I'm kind of excited to talk about that. But in the interim, and I might not have a lot to say about it, but I figured this will be first impressions. I want to talk about PlayStation Plus Premium. Because I signed up for the premium.
You did too?
Yeah. Now I went for the full. For the full
okay.
premium.
We stayed middle.
Because I wanted to see, is this going to be worth what I'm getting?
Sure.
For me, this is just like an upfront statement. For me, absolutely. And I say that because the assortment of games that was given to me as part of this, and I'm sure that you have the same access to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we did middle tier, so I don't know. We didn't get like the PSP 3 one
or
something. Or
but I feel like there was a
lot.
Now, yeah, granted, I'm not. As I was looking through this library of games, it was a little hard to discern what was from what. So I'm not, because there was a subsection, and I'm assuming this is a premium subsection that you might not have considering the games you're offered.
Right.
But there was this big catalog of games, and then there was a subsection catalog, and that had PlayStation 1 and 2 games, like Jak and Daxter and stuff like that.
I did see those.
The biggest,
and it asked me to upgrade.
Right. Now, the biggest surprise, I think, that a lot of people were not expecting, because they didn't really go into great detail about what games would be in there, but they dropped the director's cut of Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil.
I saw that.
From PlayStation 1, and people were like, oh my God, freaking out.
Was it 1? I thought it was 2, but
No.
you're right, old. It
1.
was 1? Wow.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, for PlayStation 1, Resident Evil, just like, oh my God, so everybody was freaking out.
They even had Code Veronica.
Yeah. So I was surprised by that. I do remember that. This is probably one of the first PlayStation games that I ever played was Resident Evil. First game that actually creeped me out. Like, I didn't know it was possible, you know what I mean? And I'd always heard.
Especially when I'm looking at the graphics now, and I'm going, that scared me then, and now I can only watch,
Yeah,
like, at least then I played.
But it was the intensity of it, It's just how they built it
design, everything,
So that was a welcome treat. That said, and I'm going to start here, I guess, since I'm already in this. If you're really looking to get into the older games, which I'm hit or miss with it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And if premium is really only for that, is really opening up that back catalog of certain older games, just in that subsection of games, there didn't seem to be a whole lot to choose from. So it was very limited compared to the other catalog, because that list seemed to go on forever. This PlayStation 1, 2 catalog, there was 20 games, and I'm guessing from what I remember. It didn't seem to be a whole lot. But again, like I said, it was Resident Evil. I think Siphon Filter was in there. All the Jak and Daxter games. So if that's and that's actually a pretty good game series. Of course, I will say that I got frustrated with part 2 because of some janky ass controls. And I just gave up on it, even though I was having fun up until that one point. I was like, if I can't get past this, to hell with it. Now, maybe I can go back to it today and I'd beat it, blink of an eye and be like, well, I don't understand why I was struggling with this.
Or it'll be harder.
Or it could be harder. Who knows? So I might do that. But back to the bigger catalog, and we'll see if there's similarities, because I would assume you have the same.
I was flipping through it yesterday, so.
But it did seem to be pretty extensive.
I stayed in my lane, though. I just stayed in my lane, what I knew we had. But yes, I thought it was fair for what I was seeing, and a lot of games that I actually would play. So, and then with the ones that'll be coming out,
Now, the options that I saw, now granted, they give you some PlayStation Plus exclusive PlayStation 4, 5, big titles up front. So you get Spider-Man Miles Morales, Death Stranding Director's Cut, which I was like, fucking A.
Both of them, right?
Both of them
was on there,
So I was kind of excited about that because that's a game I've wanted to play. There are a lot of others that I have played. Like we've got God of War, I think was one of them.
God of War.
Uncharted 4.
I know I saw the Dark Pictures anthology, the first two.
Yes.
I thought maybe the third one would be on there, and that's the only one I hadn't played, and it's not on there, at least yet. But yeah, those are there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yet. So there was this extensive amount of games, and I saw, what was that, the Uncharted Lost Legacy? I never had to play that.
Yes, I saw that too. I was thinking about that.
And it was
last
disappointing
night
that I never had played it up until now.
Yeah.
So I saw that. That excited me because that was one. But the more I went through it and just continued to see the amount of games, this is why I feel like this is good for me. Because I'm already talking that there are so many games.
Right.
And I don't have time for the games. Yeah. And now I have this massive collection of games that I've been wanting to play. I'm not going to have to buy any games anytime soon.
For a while. Right?
Because I have paid for this for a year. And it's probably going to take me a lot longer than a year to get through some of the ones that I want to play. So I'm just in it. And I just don't see myself buying anything unless
I haven't in a while.
It's going to have to be something like Ninja Turtles or something like that. I know that's new, but you got it on Game Pass. They didn't put it on.
I did get it on Game Pass, and I smiled for 4 hours yesterday, just like I slept with a hanger in my mouth. It was so great. I had so much fun. Anyway, I got.
So I don't have that option, or at least Sony is not offering that yet. But
yeah,
we'll see. Because I think
this might be. We're seeing some stuff here. We're seeing
something tells me at some point we're going to have that option open up maybe for certain games. For example,
maybe.
Now I didn't see this on there, but something in the back of my head because they did offer this for free when PlayStation 5 came out. Keep this in mind. Bug Snacks.
Oh yeah,
it's fun little game. It's something that's kind of in-house. It's personalized to PlayStation. They've got a new DLC coming out in a couple of months. Why, you could throw it up there. It's like if you're a premium member, you can get that for free, because you've already kind of paid for it. Kind of entice you. Just saying.
Yeah.
Little things like that can make all the difference. Not saying that they will, but that would be an incentive. If you know that on occasion you're going to get these little drops where it's like, hey, you played this one, here's some DLC. If you're a premium or maybe even an extra, I'll give extra people, why not? But you have to be to that upper tier. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, we can give you this for free, but if you're on the upper tier, you get everything. I think Mafia 3 was on there. Yeah, and it was the definitive, you get all the extra stuff. So that, to me, I was like, I've wanted to play this, and you're giving me extra stuff to go along with it? Sold!
All the DLC, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Play all the
so
story stuff right then and there, yeah.
But not only that, and I have been talking about a lot of bigger games, but the other thing that really got me excited, and I'm sure everybody heard that loud fucking car, Jesus Christ.
Was that you? I wasn't sure if it was outside of your
No, it's people using my road like a damn drag strip. And there's stupid, loud fucking
There's
cars.
always someone being noisy next to me, so
Anyway, the one thing that I think I'm most excited for, because it gives me an opportunity to be more explorative with certain games, is there are a mountain of indie games sprinkled throughout. I mean, you'll find your big titles because they had the one thing that got Katrina excited, because I wanted to show her, see if there might be something that excited her. When she saw Final Fantasy 9 and 10.
Oh, so many
she was like,
Fantasies. Yeah.
She was like, oh my God, I got to play it. And I was like, well, I can download it for you if you want to play it.
Go. Yeah.
She probably will never play it, but I put it on there for her.
Still, yeah. Well, The Messenger was on there.
Yes. That was one that got me excited when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, I want to play this. I've wanted to play it. I know I should have bought it by now, but it's just one of those that just fell through the cracks, that I've been try to remember, and there's so many games, but now I can play it, and I'm excited. The one that I saw on there that I don't need to play again, but I want to, because when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I want to play this again just to show Katrina, because I talked about it and never got to show it to her. The Artful Escape is on there, and I was like,
it was.
Oh my God, I got to play this again. Absolutely. So that's on my list of things to replay, all because I just want that experience again. Yeah. I really do. So that's a no-brainer.
And now you can do it on your 4K TV.
That's right.
Weren't you playing it on PC?
I was right here in front of the PC playing it, so now I get to see it in all its glory and let all the music just reverberate throughout the room.
Yeah. Ooh, if they could do like the 8D sound with that, just as an update,
oh yeah,
that would be really cool.
Awesome. There was another one on there, an indie title that I saw that looked absolutely absurd, but I was like, I'm in for that. I got to play this. Yeah. I'm hoping I've got the name right. It was called The Chicken Detective.
Did
you see?
Red.
Yes.
I actually have it on PC, so yes, when I saw that, I was like, aw. But yeah.
I've got to play that.
It's tomfoolery, and it's lovely. Again, indie games. What if you were a chicken solving mysteries?
Why not? Why
not? Right?
Why not? I mean, I don't have anything other than that to say about it. Why not?
Right. That was that tagline. God damn it, I'm in.
And
Fine.
it's stuff.
What if I were a chicken?
It's stuff like that that got me more excited, because I'm like, look at all these titles. Now, granted, they might not all be gems, okay? But if it can intrigue me enough, or there's something about it that makes me want to play it, then that's already a plus for them.
Right. Because
if I take note of the developer, the team, the publisher, all that stuff, I mean, sure. That will just make me seek them out later on when I see their name pop up for their next game and their next game. And I hate that this is how I'm having to sometimes get to some of these indie games, but I'm also happy that there are people. Yes, because some people are not like us. Some people are a little bit more weary about indie games. They don't want to put the money down, and I understand.
Honestly, my hubs is kind of the same way. He really likes them to look good. He likes large graphics and things, so that's just your style. That's what you enjoy out of your game. Yeah.
So I'm hoping this will allow, just the same Game Pass has done, and all these other subscription models, to allow these indie games to shine. And I'm hoping they're getting compensated for it. I hope they're not losing money being
I often wondered. I hope it's well, because it is a pretty good value from my perspective, and I hope it is for them as well,
But at least it allows us to try their game, and if I know that they're an indie team and they're struggling out there, but they made this game over here and it was amazing, I'll throw them a couple of bucks next game. I mean, easy.
Oh, absolutely.
So you just keep up the good work, and your name will gain recognition. And
honestly, if I love it, I'll probably buy it.
Sure.
Because I'll want access to it later on. Because Game Pass games aren't forever necessarily.
And see, that is my question here with this PlayStation Premium. Now, are they going to rotate games out? Or
I wondered.
Like we'll use the Artful Escape as an example. So if I've claimed it and it's in my library, do I have access to it at all times from here on? Or are they going to remove it and then I can't play it? But if I claimed it now and they remove it, but I can still play it, but you can't have access to it if you were to join later. You know what I mean?
Right,
how does this work specifically?
I mean, if it works kind of how it did prior to this having 3 tiers, because I know all of the ones that you would get a month would go into your library, and if you left it there, you could just go back there and re-download it, to my understanding.
Yeah, no, as long as you're paying for the service, you have access to any games you get through PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, and as soon as you discontinued your service, then those would go away, to my understanding. So you're paying for the the loan of it, I guess. Like, it's yours as long as you keep paying us.
Long-term rental.
There you go. Right. But yeah.
And it's not a bad deal when you think about it. I mean,
How much was the upper one? Because I know it was, what, 60, 100, something?
The premium was $199.99, but I didn't, like, I'd already renewed, so you got that there's a word. Come on, man.
Credit over? Or
I didn't have to pay. Prorate. There you go. So I was only prorated for half because I'd already paid for a year of, regular.
I had a question about what was going to happen there, so that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so you get prorated. They'll say, hey, you've already paid this. This is about where you're at in your subscription service, so you're only going to pay this amount. So that's all I got.
Nice.
So it was essentially like half or less than half, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I can honestly say, if you're just looking to up your library, extra might be the way to go, like you guys did, because at the moment, and I did this on purpose because I wanted to explore it, I wanted to talk about it, I'm not seeing full value in premium yet.
Okay.
Over time, that may change. But they're going to have to do a lot more than the small selection of older titles. And even that is just...
I think it would just take that person who really wants those feels again, that has the nostalgia for playing it from before. And I mean, not necessarily. I'm sure there are the younger generation who has taken a liking to quote-unquote retro games now. I don't know. Would that be considered retro now, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be. And I know that there are
older I get, my stuff gets called retro.
And I know that there are a few other minor, additions that the premium comes with it, but we're all about the games. The online play and all that other stuff. Who gives a shit? We want the games. We want to know that we're paying for a decent amount of games. We're getting our money's worth for what we're paying for the games. That's what it all comes down to. And that's what I'm focused on, because all that other stuff, it doesn't matter. We want the games.
Right.
I don't think I'm getting anything more or less different than you are outside of the PlayStation 1.
Like the classics catalog.
Like the classics.
Yeah.
So if that's all it is right now on the surface, just as far as games go, I'd have hard time.
Wait.
Yeah. Because unless you're just dying to go play Jak and Daxter or even the Resident Evil director's cut.
Was the OG God of War on there?
I didn't see it, no.
That seems weird to me that you wouldn't put the OG trilogy, because
my
God, that first one, holy dude.
Yeah.
I could just remember how blown away I was at that time. How blown away.
Now, I would be curious to note how they're going to do that, because that would be one of those games that would probably drive a lot of traffic into that. So they're probably hanging on to it, because that's something you don't want to give away just yet. Now, if they did that, using the Final Fantasy games as an example, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there might be 10, 11 and 12 in there. Just want to focus on the older games from 7 to 10.
Okay.
That's an array of games from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. However, they are not in the old game options. These are remastered versions for the PlayStation 4. So you're getting the newer, even though they look older.
The already remastered version of the old game.
You're getting the remastered version. So you're technically getting PlayStation 1 and 2 games within that tier, just remastered. So you're not getting the original versions. So would they remaster God of War? Kind of give it
I wish they would leave it alone. You already remastered it by creating a new game, in my opinion.
No, I agree, yeah.
I that laid the groundwork. I think it was beautiful and perfect for what it was in its moment, in its time, and I feel like we should just leave it be. No one's going to listen to me. I get that. It's just my opinion. But we've moved on to a new version of God of War, which is the remastered version, and it's a different story, and I think we leave it be.
And it's really funny that you bring that up too, because it had hit me when I was thumbing through the games. There were a lot of them that I was looking at that I was like, I kind of want to play that again. Like, just kind of reminiscing about it. It's like, that would be fun. And then I remember, I was like, yeah, but I beat it. I beat everything about it. There's nothing to explore, nothing new to find. So how do I justify going back in?
Right.
And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just say, nah, it's the experience. Go back in and just enjoy the story.
You might want to leave it in that ephemeral moment. You really might, because you go back. Why did I like this game?
Yeah.
Crap. I mean, sometimes we were just accepting of what was available to us at the time.
Yeah. But
and that was just what you got into, because that was what we had.
And I think that's kind of where I lean into the new game plus thing that I like when they do that, because now I don't have to worry about collecting things, or I don't have to. You're giving me
Is it
story.
just harder and maybe new moves?
Well, no. I mean, technically, depending on certain people's idea of what a new game plus is, to me, I want to see all my progression roll over. So I'm max level. Right. I've still got my armor and everything that I've whatever I earn. I'm talking out of my ass for different new game pluses for that. Right. We don't have armor that rolls over. Anyway, point being, you bring your stuff over, your experience.
You're like a god now in this. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's how I want to play a new game plus. I put in the time, I put in the effort. Now let me be God and just plow through everything.
I already did my grinding. I did my upgrading. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got to lock it behind something and make me work for it, fine. If I want to do it, I'll do it. If not, then the hell with it. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see why people can't enjoy a game the way they want to play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I want to play it in easy mode, by God, I want to play it in easy mode. If I want to spend the time and frustrate myself playing on hard, I'll do it.
Yeah. What is fun to you? You bought the damn thing. Yeah. Play it.
Play it how you want to play it.
Unless you're in a multiplayer game trying to cheat.
That's
then
why
I don't give a crap what you do with your game.
That's why I don't
having fun?
Understand why we can't have like cheat codes anymore. You know what happened to cheat codes?
Because now we have easy modes. Like you could put it on easy story mode, hard mode, normal mode, stupid hard mode, insane god mode, unlock the my god, why am I doing this to myself mode. You know, back then it was always just hard and you had 3 lives. So, you know, I kind of get it, I guess. But then, you know, us PC gamers mod stuff to how we want it to be in our single player games. So, you know, so that might be why.
Those were my initial impressions of the new PlayStation Plus. Again, mine was premium. I was trying to get an understanding of everything that's being offered. Outside of games, that's really all I'm seeing being, and I'm sure there's more. I'm not going to get into it. Games are what we're here for.
Games is what we're talking about. Yep.
And I'm eager to see if they can change my mind on the premium. Because right now, I don't think I can really justify getting that, even with something like Resident Evil Director's Cut. And I feel like they didn't tell anybody that, because that's going to be like that little golden goose that when people hear it, it's like, oh my God, really?
And people want to play the older version. When I saw Code Veronica, that's when I got excited, because I couldn't even tell you the last time I had seen that game or played that one.
Yeah.
You know? The other ones I kind of have recently enough that I'm like, sure.
But I think that was meant to entice people, and I think they'll do it again. I think they will hold back on certain games or release certain titles.
Smart.
It is. Don't get me wrong. I just hope that if I've latched on to something, and there's a game I'm playing, you're not going to take it away from me if I don't. If they want to rotate out the box, or if they have to, fine. But if it's in my library, if I claimed it at that time, same with the PlayStation Plus monthly games. They're offering. They're right there. If I want them, I can add them to my library. If I don't do it, that's on me.
Right.
You know, and I always look at it that way. I look at the games and I'm like, will I play this? And I'll think about it, and I think if there's even a moment's chance that I would want to play it, then I'll add it. whether I download it from that point on, because I've looked through my
Sure.
library at some point and gone, when the hell did I get this? Or what? When did I download
Right?
that? Okay. Now I'll
Dude, that's
forget all
my
about them.
Steam library. I don't even go through it anymore because I'm like, I don't know what 900 of these games even are at this point.
Well, good example. One of the last games that they've had on, I think it was this month for June, was a Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. So it's like Smash Brothers,
Okay.
but with Nickelodeon characters.
Yeah.
I added it to my library because I was like, maybe.
Or maybe 30
I don't
minutes
know.
you kill on it one day, and there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll play it, but maybe. We'll
Well,
see.
I guess a way to justify it too, if there was even a couple of those AAA games like Death Stranding you were mentioning, if you play it front to back, you might have gotten the value if you try to think of it in the terms of, well, the game was $70 brand new, and I just got to play the whole thing for my $100 a year, which is how I justified Game Pass, because that was about $120 a year. But I've already played front to back some games that once I've already added them up in my head was exponentially more than that. So maybe the older I get, the less I care about owning. And then if I loved it and I know I'm going to want to play it again, I could buy it at a discount. And then there you go. So
yeah, I kind of hope that as time goes on, we'll start to see newer PlayStation 5 games kind of roll over to the service, like after it's
we'll
kind
see
of
how they do with that.
right. Like I'm not saying they have to do what Xbox is doing or
Right.
Microsoft, where they
I'm
offer
wondering
up
how well that's going to work. Like all their brand new stuff day one.
No.
I'm curious how the money making is going to break down that way. But
I honestly don't think they'll do that. I really don't.
for
I think,
Sony, no.
no, Sony's not going to do that.
I don't think Sony will.
But I mean, that's a fair point. Now, if they are looking at it, say, see, even this feels like it's too long, or at least from where I'm sitting. But I'm not a businessman. I don't know. But say a year after the game released, it's gotten all the juice it's going to get. Like you've put it under discounts and stuff like that.
Especially for single players.
Yeah, it's made all the money it's going to make. Roll it over to the service and then offer it there. Kind of look at it like a streaming service platform. There are certain times you let it have its theatrical run. It comes out on digital video. People can buy it. People can rent it. So you give it a little bit of time to earn some money there. And then once it's kind of hit stagnation,
Once it's plateaued.
then you roll it over to your streaming service
To
and be like,
Netflix.
well,
Here
or
you
to
go.
Netflix or to Amazon or wherever.
Yeah,
and now,
wherever,
as long as you're a subscriber, you get to watch the movie.
Yep.
So maybe they'll look at it through that same business model, because to me, that would be smart.
That's kind of what we're doing anyway.
Yeah.
In a sense. I mean, we are still downloading it at this time.
We
I know
have,
there is a cloud portion to it, I think, which is where some of those older titles you play.
You think about this, 5 years ago, 5 to 6, well, I'd say about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, on this very show, we were talking about this Netflix platform of video games and how that would look. Here we are.
And Netflix is trying.
They are. They really are.
You know?
I don't think that they're succeeding,
trying to
but
get
they're
in on
trying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that does seem like the way of the world. Everything's moving into the digital, and I mean, it does make me a little sad, but from a consumer standpoint and just how much garbage we produce as a human a year on this earth, it's kind of nice to know I can just download it and I'm not consuming other goods off the earth.
But at the end of the day, the one thing that I did take away from is that this is allowing me an opportunity to play certain games that I've looked at. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll use Chicken Detective, for example, since I haven't played that. I'm sure if I saw the trailer for that, which I feel like I did, but I'm not going to swear to it. So prior to seeing it here, if I saw that trailer, I'd be like, oh my God, I want to play this. And I would probably add it to my wish list. But then I would forget about it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think about it. So this game just goes largely untouched because I'm not thinking about it at the time. And then another game will show up and another game will show up. And I'll continue to forget about it. Whereas here, it's there. It's ready for me to play. I don't have to worry about buying it. I've got access to it right now. So if I want to play it when it comes across my eyes again, I can do it.
Just do it, yeah.
And I think that's where I'm trying to see the biggest value in this is being able to play some of these games. The Artful Escape, another great example. What if
there was a lot more indies than I anticipated for the Sony side, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm happy that these games are there just so I can try them. Whether or not they suck me in all the way, I don't know.
Dude, Harvest Moon was on there.
It was.
Celeste, I think, too.
It was.
So if you really want to kill yourself on platformers, there you go. And I think Hollow Knight.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing Hollow Knight. Celeste, I would probably try again because I think I have played it on... Was it on Game Pass? I feel like I played it on Game Pass. Anyway,
right. It might have been at one point anyway.
But I played it here. I played it on the PC, and I was like, the controllers. So if I get it out there...
You can use your PlayStation controller.
I know, but then I got to set things up. I use my PS4 controller
on the PC all the time. You just got to plug... Well, at least for me, it was just plug and play. Plugged it in, and we were good.
Try, and then it fights me, and then I'm just like, whatever. I don't care. Damn it. So That's why I don't like dealing with it.
I like to use the PlayStation controller, too, because I'm used to the PlayStation controller and the way it's laid out. I have, well, that's not true. The Logitech PC controller that I bought was purposeful, and it had the same layout where the joysticks were even and the directional pad stuff because I'm just not used to having them off center like that. So, but yeah, I feel like it was a pretty decent value, for the one that we got.
So that's actually where I'm going to leave it. I think if you're considering this at all, if you're wanting to upgrade and you're looking at it, if older games aren't really something you're really, and even then, I don't know if I can justify it. So right now, if you're wanting to look at it, maybe go for the extra. Consider premium a little later down the road if they can expand it.
Or just flip through it, I guess, and see if there's anything that's you've been craving for so long now that you can't live without.
I honestly don't think there will be. I mean...
Well, and then a lot of them, we still have the originals for some of the ones that we like to play. Now, granted, backwards compatibility with Sony has always been very iffy over the years. So I know with this one, it at least is with 4. But if I popped in my 2-disc or my 3-disc, I'm not positive it would.
Sure.
So in those instances, when you see them on a downloadable library, that might be intriguing. But I also get really pissy forcing me to pay for a game again. I don't know. I just get really mad about it. And I don't know why. It's probably not rational, but it's like, I already bought it. Damn it. That's why I have the disc.
I'm hoping at some point they'll throw out another big surprise like Resident Evil Director's Cut. I can't think of anything right offhand, but I'm hoping that there will be that moment where like, hey, all you guys out there, I know you've been looking for something really interesting and old, and be like, da-da-da-da, whatever it is, and people are like, oh my God! Yeah. Nothing comes to mind. So I don't have anything, but I'm just saying, wouldn't that be cool if they do that at some point? We'll see. I'm hoping that it over time, at least the array of PlayStation 4 games, or even, I don't know what PlayStation 3 game, I don't want to get into it, or we'll start down another rabbit hole.
I mean, there's probably a few, but like trying to remember which generation it originated on off the top of my head, now that I'm so far removed, might be the challenge. I'd have to Google everything. Yeah. Just to make sure I'm in the right era.
There are a lot of games. There are a lot of options, various types. If you want to do the upgrade, jump on the extra, give it a look, and then hold off on the premium. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just for now. For now.
We're happy in the middle. Because I'm gonna probably just play the story through Miles Morales if I get through it and things like that. But like a lot of the games that I loved were on there, but I just already played them, like Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human. Although I did find it funny. I think it was in the action category or something for Detroit Become Human. One of those was labeled weird to me, where I was like, action.
I did see an
story adventure. Like, I don't know.
I did see an FMV.
Yes, telling lies.
I did see an FMV. Yeah. Have you talked
Sam
about that? Because
Barlow.
it sounded
believe
very
so.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because I know I played it, and I know I streamed it actually, so that's how long ago it was. Because I want to say I streamed a full playthrough, and we had to be a little iffy because one of the characters was very. The whole point was to be seductive and scantily clad, and with it
Right.
being an FMV, I was like, is there going to be nudity? Because now I'm nervous. But it's a great game. I liked it. I like Sam Barlow though, and how he tells stories. So that was the reason why I got it, which is why I'm also waiting on the next one. That should be coming out here soon too. But yeah, I recommend that one.
Yeah, it sounded very familiar, and I thought, I guarantee she's played this. I was trying to pinpoint it, but it seemed very familiar. So yeah.
Yeah, because there was a couple actors on there that actually are, I hate to say just legit, but like that you've actually seen running the circuit on movies and TV and stuff before too. So they had a good get. The one chick was from Westworld. Which one was she now? She has the real unique eyes, long dark hair, very petite. I think she not the saloon owner, but one of the working girls there at the saloon. If I showed you the picture, you would know who I'm talking about. But it's been so long since I've seen the first season, I can't remember character names or anything. But yeah. Anyway, we're digressing.
Yeah. So I'm done.
You asked me if I played it, and that was a very long-winded answer.
PlayStation Plus Premium, yay or nay? Hold off. Extra.
Hold off.
That's all I'm saying
So
for now.
So a solid.
No, worth the money, just not quite worth the money.
Right.
That's why I say extra is probably the better value at this time.
Right. Yeah, give them some time. Who knows what they're going to be adding? So hopefully we've got a nice long list coming up. But excellent. Well, that's our show then. Mm-hmm. Check them out. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or you can go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. You can send an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. And you can also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, and even going to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. Another friendly reminder that we did move our host site. So hopefully everybody's okay now and getting everything when they were when it goes live, you get the notification. But you can also go to youtube.com/pencil and paper productions for more. And we suck at Discord. Help us be better. Come on over and join our Discord. And also, thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.